Like to have the world know your story, but you haven't gotten to tell it.
It's been overwhelming.
One of the things that we talked about, why you wanted to tell your story and what it means to you to get to tell your own story.
I think just because it's coming from me, you know, I'm the person who has gone through this experience and has been through the trauma, and it's my story.
It's a story that left the world in disbelief.
Never put a teacher shot.
25-year-old Abby Zwerner shot by her first grade student at Rich Neck Elementary School in Newport News, Virginia on January 6th.
Let's talk first about just how are you doing? How is your recovery going?
I've been doing okay. I've gone through a lot of obstacles and challenges. Some days are not so good days where I can't get up out of bed. Some days are better than others where I'm able to get out of bed and make it to my appointments. But, you know, from going through what I've gone through, I try to stay positive, you know, try to have a positive outlook on what's happened and where my future's heading.
You just had a surgery on your hand. What are the physical injuries?
The initial gunshot went through my left hand and ruptured the middle bone as well as the index finger and the thumb. The gunshot then went into my chest up here where it actually still remains. So I have a scar up here and I still have some bullet fragments up here.
So part of that bullet is still there.
Yes.
Do you think it will always be there, or do they think they'll remove it someday?
I think it'll always be there.
I asked you a lot about the wounds that we can see, but there are wounds that we can't see.
Yes.
How are you doing?
At first, it really shook me up. They were open wounds that I could see, and seeing an open wound on your body and remembering how you got it is pretty traumatizing in itself. I think it's been helpful now that they've scarred over, but it's still a reminder that, hey, this happened to you. This is what your body's been through.
So it's January 6th of this year. What do you remember about that day?
I remember a lot. The morning, it felt like just a regular school day, but I started hearing things and things started happening that made my fear grow. As the day went on, it grew more. My fear grew more. I remember him pointing the gun at me. I remember the look on his face. I remember the gun going off. I remember feeling something. It was a pretty scary day.
In that moment, what's going through your mind?
I was terrified. In that moment, my initial reaction was, your kids need to get out of here. You know, this is not a safe classroom anymore, and then you need to go find help for yourself. It was pretty shocking. You know, once the firearm went off, and then I felt something, that shock itself that I had been shot.
You knew you had been shot.
Yeah. That was pretty shocking itself. But I just wanted to get my babies out of there.
What did the kids do, say?
They were screaming. I think they knew as well that they had to get out of there, but they were extremely frightened and screaming.
The police chief said after that you had ensured that the kids got to a safe place. Said your actions were heroic. Do you remember what were the next things that you did?
That's still kind of a blur. Got them out and I went to get help for myself. I didn't know at the time that my lung had collapsed, but I started not being able to breathe, very raspy breaths, and my vision started going out. I remember I went to the office and I just passed out. I thought I had died.
The ambulance came, you were rushed to the hospital. What did doctors say about the condition you were in and your injuries?
It could have been fatal. We believe with my hands being up, with it going through my hand first. We believe that by the bullet going through the hand first, that it most likely saved my life.
Everything about this is so unthinkable. I wonder what you think or how you feel about this student.
You know, there's some things that I'll never forget, and I just will never forget the look on his face that he gave me while he pointed the gun directly at me. That's something that I will never forget. It's changed me. It's changed my life.
How do you even make sense of something like this?
You can't. I'm not sure when the shock will ever go away because of just how surreal it was. And, the vivid memories that I have of that day. I think about it daily. Sometimes I have nightmares.
Zwerner's attorney, Diane Toscano, filed a notice of intent to sue school administrators, arguing that the Rich Neck administration failed to take action after it was warned 3 separate times that the boy had a gun with him the day that Zwerner was shot. Toscano says she plans to file a lawsuit in 2 weeks.
There have been many failures, and there are multiple people responsible for those failures.
Do you feel like you could have been better protected by the school?
Yes.
You feel like they should have done more?
Yes.
The prosecutor announced there would not be criminal charges against the 6-year-old boy. Do you have an opinion about that decision?
I'm not going to weigh into the prosecutor's decision, but I am following very closely the Newport News prosecutor to see what they do in this case and who they do charge, ultimately, if they do charge anybody.
When you think about everything that's happened and what happened to you, what does justice mean to you in this case?
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah. Diane, for you?
As Abby said, that is very tough to answer. My job is to hold those accountable that I can hold accountable, and I'm going to do that. Abby's going to have to deal with this her entire life, both physically, emotionally.
NBC News has reached out to the school district for comment and has not heard back. In the moments after the shooting, Zwerner's mother and sister rushed to be by her side.
What did you think when they said she was shot by a student?
I probably had some expletives running in my head. I might have even said them out loud, like, what? Are you kidding me? And I know I lost it at that point. It just, you can't wrap your head around that. All of us being teachers in classrooms at rough schools, rough kids, you're never afraid like that. I never would have thought.
And when you saw Abby?
Oh my gosh, she called me mommy.
You don't call her mommy anymore.
No, she called me mommy, and I knew, like, oh my gosh, this is real. I haven't heard mommy in a long time, and it kind of broke my heart.
Yeah. Hannah, you've been helping to take care of your twin sister. What has this time been like?
I'm just so grateful that I was able to be there for her. We already lived together, which was nice, but we spend every waking moment together. And just being able to take care of her, and it's taking her to appointments, it's making her food, it's cleaning up, opening toothpaste, things like that. I'm really, really grateful that I'm able to help her with that and be there for moral support too.
But the support she's received has extended far beyond her family.
It's hard to comprehend sometimes how many people out there really are just supportive and caring. That in itself has been hard to comprehend. There have been so many strangers reaching out. We have tons of handmade cards, handwritten cards with people's stories.
And what does it mean to you? Because you've seen a very dark side of humanity. What does this mean to you, to see another side?
It helps me remember to take each day as they come, that each day is special.
What would you want people to know about you now? You have people who have prayed for you and sent you cards, people who are admiring you and loving you. What would you want them to know about Abby?
That I'm just so thankful. Their messages, their cards, Their support has not gone unnoticed, and it's been truly inspiring to keep pushing me to move forward in a positive way.
What do you tell yourself to get through? What gives you hope?
I'm still here. I believe I made it here for a reason.
If you could talk to your students, what would you want to say to them?
I would first tell them that I love each and every one of them. I'm very grateful that they're all alive and they're safe and they're healthy, and I just miss them dearly.